Hi, I'm John Ray, and welcome to the Thriving Podcast. I'm your host and intuitive coach, dedicated to amplifying your intuition, transforming your mind, and igniting your inner magic to create a life you're obsessed with. 2 years ago, I was burnt out as fuck in a toxic relationship and a successful tech career that I just wasn't happy in anymore. I left it all behind with no plan, and now I'm running my own business, immersed in purpose and passion, happily married to my soulmate, and living out my dreams every single day. And if you're badass enough to be listening to this podcast, then you're already on the fast track to doing the same, babe. On this podcast, we'll dive into all things life, business, heart, mind, body, and soul, empowering you to up-level your life and embody your happiest, healthiest, and hottest self. It's time to make idealistic your new realistic, because you're not just here to survive, you're here to thrive. What is up, party people? Welcome back to the podcast. Happy Thriving Thursday. I don't know why, but I've re-recorded this literally first sentence like 5 times. Oh yeah, because I haven't recorded a podcast episode in 2 weeks because last week I repurposed the episode from Bea's podcast. So yeah, it's so weird how just 2 weeks away from the mic, you can come back and be like, what? How do I words? But at the same time, I really was looking forward to this, and I really have come to love just like sitting down at the mic and getting to, just like ramble for 40 to 75 minutes. Today is going to be probably a bit of a shorter one. I know I always say that. And I know I always say that, and then I give a reason why it's actually going to be legit this time, which I'm doing now again. But like today it really actually is, because one, it is more just like a potent topic. It's like a top 5 kind of thing. So it hopefully won't be as rambly. I'm not planning for it to be. And I also feel like I really know what I want to say, which often I feel like I know what I want to say, but I'm more just let me let it flow. And I feel like this has just been like on my mind so much the past few days, especially because I have the free workshop coming up next week. If you haven't seen on it, if you don't follow me on Instagram a lot, I have a free workshop coming up next week. It's called 5K Frequency. I just announced it yesterday and I'm so freaking pumped for it. There's already 8 people signed up literally within the first 24 hours, which I am just truly so grateful for, because I literally remember not long ago, you guys, not long ago, if one person would like DM me the keyword to ask to learn more about my offer, I would literally be like jumping up and down with joy. Not gonna lie, I still am jumping up and down with joy. And I think you always should be, even when you have like hundreds of people DMing you, like never, forget where you came from and like always stay in gratitude. I think that is so important. But yeah, it's just like wild because like I talked about a couple episodes ago, so many things are just coming to fruition finally in so many areas of my life, but especially in my business. And it's just, I'm basking in every single moment. Like I'm not taking anything for granted. It's so epic. And that's what inspired this episode today, because I'm on that 5K frequency, you guys. So this episode is on that 5K frequency. You, just by listening to this episode, are aligning to that 5K frequency. Isn't that epic? And the other reason why I'm going to try and make it not that long is because, actually a bit late, I'm recording this at 11 o'clock a.m. on Thursday. Normally the episode comes out on Thursday, which it's still going to come out on Thursday, but normally I like to try to have it up by like just midnight or like 8 a.m. or something. And it's probably not going to be out until 12 or 1 today, which is fine. It was like a choice that I made because this has like just been a really busy week. And it's funny, actually, I just posted a story about this, but I was talking to Sindri last night and I was like, what's crazy is I keep saying this week is so busy. Oh my God, it's such a busy week. But like at the same time, thinking back to what that statement used to mean to me, if I said, oh my God, I'm so busy, or it's such a busy week, that meant I was like burnt out, drowning in work, and like also, basically, it meant that like work was just taking over my entire life. The busyness was just work. Like every waking hour was being spent on, oh my God, I have so much work to do. I wasn't eating. I wasn't sleeping. Like I would be staying up until 2, 3 a.m., not having any morning practice, like not prioritizing my energy work at all, no self-care, probably not even really eating or drinking, like just working at the computer until I was starving and dehydrated, not even getting up to pee, like not getting movement or prioritizing exercise or anything. Like that is what busy used to mean to me. And this week, I'm busy because there's a lot going on, but at the same time, like I was looking at my schedule and I was like, why do I feel like I'm so busy this week? And it's because like I have a little bit of extra work to do prepping for this launch, obviously. But I was like, you'd think that wouldn't be taking up that much time. And I looked at my schedule and I was like, oh, it's because 75% of my day is still dedicated to self-care. And that's just like a non-negotiable to me now. Like joked the other day, I was like, me, like I have such a busy day. Also me has 4-hour morning routine, which is literally true. Like I don't start my workday until 11. So I have that morning to myself. I'm prioritizing my energy practices and I'm like working out consistently. And that's another reason why I have more going on because I wasn't doing that before. But I have time for that now. And even I was like, I'm even like making time for loved ones this week. Like I just got breakfast with my family the other morning and I saw my friend and I'm going to a show tonight with my family and I'm still making time to call Sindri and have dates with him. I'm even still like hitting my water goals and my protein goals. I'm eating lunch. Like guys, I still have eat lunch on my habit tracker because it used to be a thing that I would just like skip lunch or work through lunch or forget to eat lunch. And I still do sometimes forget because like just like ADHD forgetfulness. It's not as much like I'm working through, oh my God, I can't stop to eat. It's more just I need to like remind myself because I can get like hyper focused on things. But like, it's easily checked off every single day. So just, yeah, I'm really proud of myself that I'm prioritizing my needs so much more effortlessly now. As basic as that sounds, it was just like a really cool realization. Wow, self-care is just integrated into my life now. Like even though I have a lot going on, that is all non-negotiable to my day and to my routine. And that's the other thing is, even though there's a lot going on and I have a busier week and more to do, I don't feel stressed at all or overwhelmed. Actually, yesterday was so funny because I finished work and that was funny too because I was like, at the end of the day, I texted Sindri and I was like, whoa, wow, that was like a long day. That was a lot of work. Like I just did so much work because I haven't really sat at the computer like heads down working on something like in a while. I'm usually more kind of flowy and break up my work stuff, but I was like working on the landing page and setting up the whole registration and everything for the workshop. And the fun thing was, I was like, that's like the longest block I've worked in so long. And first of all, it was only 6 hours. And I was like, this is hilarious. I'm literally like, wow, what a busy work day because I worked for 6 hours straight. Just shows how much more balance I have in my life now. That's not even like a full 8-hour workday that I would have had back in corporate. And the other thing was, it wasn't even like after that, I was like exhausted. Oh my God, I need to just flop down on the couch. I like felt actually so light and expanded and excited. And I think that is just the epitome of everything that I stand for and talk about with business and with life. And I always say it's not what you're doing, it's how you're doing it and it's how you feel. And I'm just really proud of myself for like actually embodying all of that. And I was like, damn it, it really is. The better it gets, the better it gets. And that's the thing too, is my business is doing better than ever right now. And it's duh. It's, oh wow, who would have thought? Who would have thunk it? That working less and actually prioritizing balance and prioritizing your energy and your self-care will actually help you be more successful and get better results. Obviously, I knew that, but obviously it's been a journey to get here, like over the past year and a half. And so I just want to take that moment to like reflect on that and give that reminder if anybody needed it. So on that note, today we are diving into the 5 things that you are going to go all in on for the next 4 months, September, October, November, December, to get yourself to 5K months by the end of 2024. I'm really excited for this because I'm really taking this hook seriously, you guys. Like, I was like, I'm not going to make this hook if I don't really think that if somebody went all the fuck in on these 5 things, they could not get to 5K months by the end of 2024, or at least be so much closer, because that is the one thing is I don't like to promise timelines. You guys know, like I talk about this, I'm no BS manifestation. It will depend like where you are at now. Like I always say, we're all starting at different points. And so it's going to take us all a different amount of time to get to the finish line. If you think about literally running a 5K, to stay on the 5K theme, if you've never like ran before a day in your life, even if you go all in on these 5 things and it's like the absolute best training tips, it's still going to probably take you longer to run the 5K at the end of the 4 months than someone who's been running for 5 years or even for 5 months before you. So just keep that in mind. I guarantee if you go all in on these 5 things, you will see results. You will be a lot closer to those 5K months. If you're at 0 months, You'll maybe get to $500 months, $1,000 months, 3K months. You may get all the way up to 5K months. It really just depends. And this also really goes for anyone. Like if you're at 5K months and you want to get to 10K months, essentially this is the 5 things that you're going to do to guarantee to 5x your growth in your business. And 5x is honestly a number I just threw out. That's not scientifically proven. But I want to stay on the 5 thing. But you get what I'm saying, okay? If you go in on these 5 things, there is literally no way you will not see results and you will not see a change and from where you are right now to where you are at the end of the year. Basically, if you're trying to make 5K months, go all in on these 5 things. You will get as close as it is literally possible, like humanly and energetically possible for you to get to 5K months given where you are right now and like within the laws of the universe. You get what I'm saying? But this is absolutely the top 5 things that I would focus all of my energy into if I really wanted to see things start happening and wanted to blow my business up by the end of the year or even going into the new year. Okay, so we're going to get right into it. Number 1 is to get, I feel like I'm a broken record with this at this point, get clear as fuck on your vision. Okay? This is so important and it really applies to every single area of your life and your business. And I know the first thing people are going to say is, but that's my problem is I can't get clarity. Well, like that's all the more reason why you need to make this your number 1 priority, because if that's where you're feeling like you're stuck, then if you are prioritizing literally anything but this, you're not going to move forward. And so there's a couple things I'll say on this. Number 1, if you're like, but I've been trying to get clarity and it's not working, well, then clearly whatever way you've been trying to get clarity is not the way to get clarity. It's like the classic, if you want to get somewhere you haven't gotten, you have to go somewhere you haven't gone. Or what is that phrase? Like, basically nothing changes if nothing changes. So it's like I was saying earlier with the work thing, like I was like, clearly working harder is not going to make me more successful, because if it was, then I would be so successful now because I've been working so freaking hard. So it's a thing where you have to kind of reality check yourself and be like, okay, clearly if this was going to work, it's going to work by now. And the most common mistake that I see with this is you're trying to think your way to clarity. And it's okay. Clearly, if thinking, like trying to think my way out of this problem and out of this confusion was going to work, it would have worked by now and I would have the answer. So we have to go a different way. And I feel like I'm a broken record with this too. I feel like clarity is, people act like it's so difficult to get. And it's like almost the most common myth that I hear from people. Oh, but I don't know. And they're just going about it all the wrong way. And it's clarity is actually not that difficult to get. You literally just have to clear the fear that is in the way from you accessing that clarity. The clarity is already there. Your intuition always has the answers, and you have access to your intuition at any time. A lack of clarity is literally just the presence of a fear that you are not aware of yet. So once you are able to identify and bring awareness to the fear that is in the way of you accessing and allowing and receiving and accepting the answer, then you'll have the answer. Then you'll feel clear. And this can be difficult to do on your own. It's very possible to do on your own. And I highly recommend like journaling. And there are a lot of journal prompts. You could honestly and I think I've shared journal prompts for this before. You could honestly even ask ChatGPT probably for journal prompts, or look up but literally you can just start with, it's basically just identifying the resistance. You can, whatever the thing is that you feel unclear on, or the thing is that you want, say it's, who am I serving? What's my niche? Who's my ideal client? Start journaling out what would happen if you actually got clear on your client, or what would happen if you actually committed to a niche. Like, what are you losing out on? What are you losing by doing that? What are you risking by doing that? And identify all of the narratives that are happening in your brain that are trying to keep you from getting clarity. That was a huge thing for me. I was going back and forth in my ideal client and my niche for so long. And I finally had this epiphany that it was just a distraction, right? Me pretending I didn't know who I wanted to help, because I had a fear that no matter what I decided, I wouldn't get clients. And so the fear was always driving, oh no, but you have to switch to this because you're not going to get clients. Oh no, but you have to do this because you're not going to get clients. And as long as that fear was present that I was never going to get clients, then no matter what I decided to do, I was always going to feel like it wasn't going to work. You see what I'm saying? And the other fear was imposter syndrome. I didn't feel confident in committing to the niche that I wanted to be in and the people I wanted to serve, which is working with entrepreneurs and business owners and helping people start businesses. I was like, I haven't been in business long enough. I'm not good enough to do that. And as long as that fear was telling me, you're not good enough for that niche, then I was never going to allow myself to actually commit to that and accept that as an answer. So I would just continue subscribing to that myth of, oh, I just don't know what I want. I say every time you say, I don't know, you're literally giving away your power because you always know. And so when you really remember, I always know, stop subscribing to the narrative that you don't know what you want. And just get really fucking honest with yourself about what you want. And I even go back to, I think my second episode of the podcast, maybe I did that little meditation with some questions that you can ask yourself to help yourself get that fear out of the way and really allow those answers to come through. So yeah, journaling. But yeah, journaling. You can also, tapping is super, super helpful for this. Again, just go through the tapping points and start just talking out loud about what you feel unclear on. And just let the narrative write itself. And your subconscious will start talking. And then you'll be like, oh, that's what I want. I just don't think I can have it. I just don't think I can do it. But you have to get really clear on what you want with your business, with your life, on what a happy, successful business looks like for you, what the boundaries are, how your clients show up, how you show up, what's required of you. Get so clear on literally every aspect. It's not just getting clear on who you want to serve and what you want to offer. That is super, super important because this will probably come up multiple times throughout the episode, but connecting with your client, with your dream client, is going to be the most important thing, because obviously if you don't connect with your clients, then you don't make sales, you don't have a business, right? You need connection with your clients to have a successful business. That is honestly the foundation of it. But the first step to connecting with your clients is knowing who your clients are, knowing what your clients want, knowing what your clients need, and knowing how you're going to give that to them and why you want to give that to them. So it's really getting clear on what you want to offer, who you want to serve, why they want that and need that, which I know people get so hung up on. But again, I swear to you, it is not as complicated as you think it is. And I will tell you this, and I've been seeing this so much lately. If you've been going back and forth about your niche and your client for multiple conversations, for multiple weeks or even months, and you keep pivoting and you keep delaying and this and that, then there is a fear that you're ignoring. What you're doing is not working. And if the journaling and the tapping doesn't work, then schedule a session with someone and be like, help me find the fear in the way. Okay. There is a fear in the way. I promise you that's all it is. And if you don't tackle the fear, no matter what else you do, it is not going to work. Yep. The last thing I'll say on this point about clarity too is I find often, especially if it is something you've been going back and forth on for so long, we can start to put the clarity up on a pedestal and be like, oh, but I just need to figure this out. I was actually just talking to my friend about this the other day. I just need to figure this out. And then, and it's almost like we start putting a ton of pressure on it. We're actually trying to control the clarity and control getting the answer so much. And pressure is the vibe killer. We're I need to figure this out. I need to figure this out. That actually is preventing you from figuring it out. So it's at that point too, often the best thing you can do is just let go. Let go of needing to figure out what you want. And just start showing up how you want to show up. And you can hack it in that way too, because that action creates clarity. So it's what if, for example, to stay with the ideal client thing, what if you didn't need to be super clear on who you're talking to in order to start making content, but you just started making content from what you felt truly inspired to talk about. And you took the pressure off of needing to make sales or needing to connect with your client. I know I always emphasize how important that is, but if you're having trouble accessing that clarity, what if you took the pressure off for just a little bit, just a couple weeks, and just saw what came through naturally? A lot of the time I will notice, when I'm just following my intuition and just like taking aligned action, honestly, and just following inspiration, clarity will come and I'll get sign after sign. It's, oh, universe like that. Oh, I should do more of that. Oh, I like that. You know what I mean? And so it's finding a balance as always, but it's if you've been using lack of clarity as an excuse to not show up, then just start showing up. And if you've been pedestaling lack of clarity, and if you've been pedestaling getting clarity because you want to show up with the clarity so bad, then maybe try like caring about the clarity a little less, and again, just showing up. Again, it's really all distraction at the end of the day. Lack of clarity is a myth. There is no such thing. There is no such thing. But yeah, I think that's all I really want to say on that is get so clear. And also remember that you're getting clear on the what, you don't have to get clear on the how. And again, that's where the fear always gets in the way, because the how blocks us from even acknowledging the what. Like when I was talking to my friend the other day, this wasn't related to business, but it was about where she wants to live. And I was like, where would you want to live if anywhere was possible? What qualities would your home have? How would you feel? You know what I mean? What would your environment be like? Because she was so tied to what state, and I can't afford houses there and things like that. And it's, what if you just get really clear on what you want? I want a house with lots of land, and I want to feel like really light and safe in my house. And like, what if you get clear on that kind of stuff and you're like specific yet vague at the same time? Like with your business, can be like, what do you want your business to feel like? What do you want your relationship with your clients to be like? And what do you want your content process to be like? And get clear on that kind of stuff. If you're getting hung up on the how, because remember, the how is not your job. And what I actually advised to her was, I was like, then write a letter to the universe, put your order in, basically. Like, hi, universe, like, I would really like a house that has this and this, and I would really like the process to feel this way, and I would like to feel this way in the home, and da-da-da. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful. Like, trust you, love you, whatever. Send the letter off, do a little ritual with it, and then let it go. And then literally just trust that it will come through. And remember that, like, you have no idea how it will come through, and I can almost guarantee it's going to happen in a way that you could literally never predict. So it's like, why even try? It's never going to happen the way and the more you try to predict, the more you're just going to block yourself from actually allowing it to unfold the way that it's meant to. Get super freaking clear on what you want for your life, on your vision. And the reason, and this is important, one, so that you're able to connect with your clients. Two, so that you're able to prioritize number two, which is your identity work and self-concept. Honestly, you guys, I was making a video about this today. I started to make a video about this and ended up getting like too long. And I was like, you know what? There's too much to say on this. I have to put this in the podcast. It was like getting to be like 10 minutes. I was like, maybe it'll just be a TikTok. I don't know. It'll be too long for Instagram. Or maybe I'll do an IG live on it. But I was thinking this morning, identity work literally is everything. I know I talk about it a lot, and I know if you're in this space, you probably hear people talk about it a lot. Or maybe you're like, I've heard it and I don't even really know what it is. I'm going to tell you why identity work is so freaking important, and why it is honestly more important than like almost anything else. And if you are not prioritizing identity work over any other kind of self-development work, like you're doing it wrong, honestly. And there's no wrong or right way to grow and to heal, but you're taking the long way, basically, and you're making a lot harder than it has to be for yourself. If you've read my Bible, Atomic Habits, you'll know that he talks about this. But I was thinking about it today in a really scientific way, because I talk a lot about the brain and how the brain works. And your brain literally actually only cares about your identity. Your identity is actually the only thing your brain gives a flying shit about. Because your brain, your ego, I, literally only cares about I, me, myself, and I, right? Everything you view is through your perspective, your lens, your world. It's that everyone is the hero of their own story. If you know anything about how like the brain and your subconscious works in NLP, it's like your brain takes everything personally. Your brain is literally filtering everything through the lens of me, me, me. Because essentially your brain's sole mission is to figure out how the world works, take notes, observe, okay, what is the truth of the world, put it on record so that it knows how to operate most effectively to keep you safe in this world. It's like, if I understand the truth of the world, then I understand how to operate in a way that will keep me safe. And that's where the beliefs come in, limiting beliefs, because you can't really control a lot of the notes that your brain takes, especially early on in life, because it will just base it off of experiences. It's got a good goal, but the process is not very efficient because there's no filtering system in between when you're like young that is telling it like, hey, like that experience happened and I know that made you think that we're always going to be abandoned and so it's actually safer to like stay isolated and not let love in. But that's actually not true, and that's not the belief we want to subscribe to. There's no like way to interrupt like early on when your brain is super neuroplastic. So your brain forms these beliefs. And again, everything for your brain is in the context of you. So the truth of the world to your brain is literally just who am I? That's all it's trying to figure out is who am I? So I am blank is like the only sentence that your brain ever cares about having filled in. That's why affirmations are a thing. So like your brain is literally just obsessed with what is my identity? Who am I? Because like you are the universe. Again, it's everything is you, right? To your brain, everything is you. Does that make sense? Trying not to get too esoteric here with that, but essentially that's why identity work is so important because your brain is obsessed with your identity and it wants to figure out your identity so it knows how to act in alignment with your identity, right? Like it's just like a lost little puppy and it just tell me like where to go and tell me who I am, how I'm supposed to show up. So whatever identity and self-concept like you formed for yourself and whatever beliefs you have attached to your identity, that's how you're going to show up. And that's why it's so important because that's why it's so important because your self-concept is the driving force of everything you do. And it is also what will affect what you energetically manifest or resist, and even what you perceive. So in the context of business, you need to get so clear on what is the identity that I'm wanting to embody, right? Like, how am I identifying and viewing myself right now that is not in alignment with the reality that I'm actually wanting to manifest and the business I'm actually wanting to have? And a really easy question you can ask yourself with this is literally just, okay, how would I be showing up differently if I was making $1 million already? If I was booked out with my offers? Like, how would I be showing up differently? With my habits, with my routines, within my work, with my work tasks, with the way that I respond to things, with the boundaries that I set, with the way that I talk out loud, like to the universe, to other people, and to myself. Like with the things that I say. Like one thing that I did when I was really trying to shift out of like my poor money situation was I erased the phrase, I am broke, I'm so broke, from my vocabulary. I was like, I cannot say this anymore because I always say the universe is always taking notes. Every time I say I'm so broke, I'm reminding my brain I'm broke. My identity is that of a broke person, of a poor person. Therefore, we should continue to manifest experiences that a poor person would experience, and we should continue to take actions that a poor person would take, that a broke person would take. And nothing changes if nothing changes. So if I continue to just attach myself to that identity, I'm never going to become rich. I'm never going to make more money. I had to stop attaching to that identity and start asking myself every single day. This is actually a question I ask myself often. What would I do? What would I choose if I had more than enough money that I knew what to do with? And I also will say if I had more than enough time that I know what to do with. If I had more than enough love that I knew what to do with. If I was already so fulfilled and felt so happy and so safe and so rich and abundant. Because that is how you make choices from that identity, from that place, by asking yourself, what would I do if I was this person? Because you have to make choices from the headspace and the energy of that person in order to become that person and to manifest the reality that person lives. And it really is the ultimate hack too, because there is no other way. You cannot get there without changing this. And again, to circle back to that example that I gave in the beginning of the episode about like my work situation, like how I used to work so hard. And it was like, I used to always say to people, like, you're working so hard for what? And they'd be like, oh, so I can get financial freedom. And I'm like, you do not get to freedom by sacrificing freedom. Like, you do not get to peace by sacrificing peace. Like, you only get to peace and freedom by choosing peace and freedom and embodying those things now. How is the 5K month version of you showing up? How is the full-time CEO version of you showing up? How is the version of you whose business is booming showing up in their day-to-day. What are their habits? How do they talk to clients? How available are they? What boundaries do they have? These are all things that I had to change before I started seeing the changes in my business. I had to fix my habits and my routines. I didn't have any structure. I was scared of structure. I had to break down my fears and limiting beliefs around structure and feeling trapped by it, right? I had to find healthy balance with my masculine and feminine energy and learn how to harmonize those. I had to fix my sleep schedule. I had to actually become a person that goes to sleep before midnight consistently and loves doing that. I had to become a person that prioritizes her energy practice and her morning routine every single day. I had to become a person that has boundaries with her clients and isn't available 24/7. I had to become a person that invests in herself before she's seen the results, before she's making the money. I had to commit and show up consistently. I went full-time in my business when I was still making $0 in my business. I invested in my business multiple times. I was still making $0 in my business. And I've been showing up every single day in my business, even before I had anyone engaging with me or reaching out to me or showing any interest in my business at all. And so many people once I get people paying attention, once people are paying attention, then, I'll show up better. Once I'm making more money, then I can invest, or then I can do this. Then I can take myself more seriously, or then I'll make the time. Once I have people reaching out, then I'll make the time for the sessions. And it just doesn't work that way. You literally have to identify where is the gap between there and now. And the awesome thing is, when you really do that, your day-to-day truly becomes an embodiment of what you want to manifest. And then, yes, the results do come as a result of that. And at the same time, you lose that neediness for the results. I think I talked about this in an episode before when I talked about how to let go of attachment to your manifestation, because you truly feel like you're already living it, right? That's the ultimate hack. That's the thing with manifestation, is the trick of it is once you're embodying it and you're actually feeling what you want to feel and you're actually doing what you want to do, then yeah, you're still really excited for the results to come, but you lose that needy energy for them because you already feel fulfilled and you already are embodying everything that you want to embody. So there are a lot of habits and qualities and things like this that are going to be the same for everybody. And there are a lot that might be specific to you, but really look at your schedule, look at your habits, especially look at your routines, look at your boundaries with work and with your clients and how you're showing up or not showing up, and ask, okay, go back to that vision and who am I stepping into? Who do I want to be? How does the badass CEO version of me who's booked out in her business and making millions of dollars, how does she show up every day? And where is the gap and what is different? And how can I start showing up that way now? What needs to change? And you may realize a big thing for me was not having enough time. And I realized when I did, it'll force you to realize what needs to change. And it will uncover new layers of what needs to heal and what do you need to work through, because I was oh my God, I actually wouldn't have to. I had my business blow up tomorrow and everyone was reaching out, wanting to work with me. I would not have the space on my calendar to handle that. I was I wouldn't even have the capacity to respond to everybody. So I set up ManyChat and I had to really look at my schedule and my relationship with time, my relationship with work, and be okay, why do I not have time here? Do I need more routine, or am I committing myself to things that actually aren't priorities? When I had to really figure it out, I put the sessions on my calendar, and that is the kind of shit that makes a difference. A big thing is it takes so long for new entrepreneurs to even identify as an entrepreneur or a CEO or a business owner. And you feel you can't claim that title until you're making a ton of money or you have a ton of clients and success. And you have to claim that title before you see any of that, right? Or it won't come. So number 2 is identity work, essentially, and really going all in on how you look at yourself. Who am I? How do I identify? What do I identify as? Claim that to the world through your words and your actions every single day. And the way you talk to yourself also is really important, right? If you're a super confident badass bitch, are you guilting yourself and shaming yourself for not getting enough done? Or are you talking to yourself with love and compassion and being girl, you did your best. You're an icon. That's super important too. So identity work, identity work, identity work. Number 3 is, who can guess? I'm obsessed. That rhymes. Somatic work. Okay. And honestly, if I were to only give one thing to focus on, I would say somatic work, because somatics is truly the only shortcut to success. like I was yesterday writing this on my landing page. I was like, you'll learn the true shortcut to business success. And I was like, I never thought I would say that there is a shortcut, but there is, because most people aren't doing this work. Again, they're trying to think their way. They're trying to just figure out the best strategy and doing like mindset and things. And they're not actually going into the body and connecting to their body, which is where all the answers are, and where all of the fear and the beliefs that you don't want to align to are living. And the only way to clear them and process them is by going into the body and actually working somatically. You need to clear those fears and those blocks energetically and attune your nervous system to the reality that you want to live, to that 5K frequency. That's like literally what the workshop is all about, like attuning your system to the 5K frequency. And I know I've said it over and over again at this point, but when I really went all in on somatics and embodiment, that is seriously, my business blew the fuck up. And the biggest difference, and it's so hard for me to explain because again, it's like, it literally is magic. Like it literally is magic, because you can't even like, when you do somatic work, it's literally then the magic just works in the background and you just naturally feel yourself align and you feel the shift. It happens so effortlessly. And you just notice, oh, the resistance is gone. Oh, this doesn't feel forced anymore. Oh, I actually just like genuinely feel confident and believe that this is going to happen. And before I really went all in on somatics, I was familiar, but I really wasn't like into it and committed to it the way that I am now, or as educated on it as I am now. And the difference is, before, yes, it's great to hold the belief and hold yourself higher and keep pumping yourself up and affirming, but if your body is not on board with it and you haven't done the somatic work alongside that stuff, like with this perspective shifting and everything, you'll always feel that kind of like force and resistance. When you're like, oh, like I'm trying to believe, you believe like on a conscious level, but it's just not fully there. Like not every part of you believes, and you can feel that not every part of you believes. You really can feel that. And so if you've ever wondered, like, is it normal if you've ever wondered, will I ever truly feel like I'm going to be successful or like I'm gonna make the money? Like it is really possible. Like, will I ever feel that in every fiber of my being? Somatic work is the way. It just makes everything so much easier. And going back to that note about clarity, if you're not getting clarity, go into the body. I swear to God, do the somatic work. That fear, it will dissolve like in one session. I've dissolved fears with people, like literally direct quotes from clients is, I cannot believe that I actually know what I want. And it only took less than an hour, because like they've been struggling with not knowing what they want for months and months because they simply haven't taken the time to go into the body and just clear it energetically, especially money wise and with finances and making money in your business and sales. Somatics was so key for me with clearing out those fears related to rejection, all of the fears about what bad things money would bring to me, or like why I didn't want money, why money felt dangerous, and really expanding my nervous system capacity to actually receive and hold more money and more joy. Because that's a big thing, and I see this come up a lot, and that was a big thing for me. I think I talked about this in the Bestie Chat episode a little bit, but it's often a thing of your nervous system doesn't actually feel safe to have too many things going well at once because of whatever experiences you've gone through in the past. And so it's, well, I can't have money and be successful in my business and have this and feel good about myself and have a good relationship and all these things. And so it's like really expanding your nervous system capacity to feel safe, making more money, being more independent, being happier, experiencing more love and joy and success in your life. That is the number one thing, honestly, that I would focus on, and the number one thing that has allowed me to actually start making more money in my business and to actually get to that first 5K month. I would never ever have gotten there if I had not gone into my body and cleared these things and reprogrammed these things somatically and worked with my nervous system to attune to this higher frequency and to expand my capacity to hold that. It never would have felt safe to me. Your nervous system literally is like the big boss, What your nervous system says goes, honestly. You literally will not let yourself make more money if it does not feel safe to your nervous system. And I'll tell you something right now. If you're not making the money yet, it doesn't feel safe to your nervous system. If it felt safe, you'd be making it. And there's also, you might not be taking the action. Of course, there's always the combination. Like, you could expand your capacity and then not take action and you wouldn't make it, right? But at the same time, you could be taking all the action in the world. And if your nervous system is not expanded to receive it or hold it, then you're not going to get the money. I just posted a reel. It's actually like, you guys were loving the reel. And I'm excited because I loved the reel. And when I got the idea, I was like, I love this. But I literally walked you through a somatic practice where you can actually like basically check in with your body and test and ask your nervous system and see like, how much money do I actually have the capacity to receive and hold right now? But like I just said, a really quick, easy way to do that is like, how much money are you making? That's probably how much money you have the capacity for. Expanding your nervous system capacity and clearing the fears and reprogramming the beliefs somatically in the body. Huge. And I feel like that is really what sets my work specifically apart from a lot of other work that I see. And there are people that work with somatics, absolutely. And there are people that work with somatics in business, but I haven't seen anyone really that blends it all the way that I blend it, which is why I'm really excited. I feel like I've, again, gotten so clear on really what I'm here to do and like how I want to serve and the kind of work that I really feel passionate about. And it really is this like beautiful blend of somatics, strategy, intuition, business, energetics, confidence, and I'm obsessed. So I really feel like this is the magic formula, and that's why I'm really excited about this episode and about this workshop coming up. But yeah, somatics. I just invested in an actual official somatic certification, which I'm really excited for. I'm going to have to do a whole other episode on my thoughts on certifications because I have a lot of thoughts. You guys know, like, I'm always literally the first to say, you do not need a certification. But I've been seeing a lot of things about it, and obviously I just invested in one. This is the first certification I've ever taken. I've gotten this far in my business, got to 5K months without any certifications. But yeah, if you want to hear that episode, I probably will make it anyway, but I feel like I really want to share my thoughts on that. Anyway, I'm really excited to just, bring even more knowledge and intention into my practices because, bringing somatic work to my clients was absolutely one of the best things I ever did for my business also. So, number 3 is somatics. Number 4 is invest in support, okay? And don't roll your eyes at me, okay? There are many ways you can do this. I would absolutely recommend investing in high touch support, high ticket, high level support. I know everyone says this, and I know if you haven't done it before, you're probably rolling your eyes and saying, every coach says that because they want you to invest in their programs. I literally don't care if you invest in my program or not. I would love for you to. I'm not saying I don't care, but that is really not why I'm saying this. I'm only saying this because I have seen the effect that it has had on my own experience, and I'll tell you exactly why it matters. Before I get into that, I will say, if you truly don't have the money and you're like, that's not fair, I can't afford it, first of all, that sounds like a victim mentality to me if you're actually like complaining and saying that. But like at the same time, I'm big on nervous system capacity. So if you were like, I know I could make it work, but I think it would just like really stress me out. Like I just don't have the trust in the process. Like I know it's a limiting belief. I know that I could make it work and this would support me, but I feel like it's just going to really stress out my system and I'm not ready for that. You don't have to invest thousands of dollars, okay? You can invest in support by dedicating yourself to free support as if it is paid. Look at all of the free resources available. I'm literally telling you, I have this free workshop coming up that is going to be so much freaking value. I offer free workshops. So many coaches offer free sessions. I even offer free sessions sometimes, or like giveaways for free sessions. Go to almost any coach or mentor or anyone's like bio or website. They have a free place to start, free guides, free resources, free workshops, free sessions, free classes, whatever it is, because they do want it to be accessible. And that's what I'm saying. I know that it can feel like, they just want you to get their stuff. They just want you to buy the blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, we actually really do want it to be accessible. The reason why investments are high investments is because 95% of the time, people will not invest their energy the way that they need to if they do not invest in a tangible way at the same level of commitment and dedication. Okay? That is why the investments are often high ticket offers. But most people will have tiered options, free options, low ticket options, high ticket options. So you can work your way up again as you're slowly expanding your nervous system capacity over time. So start with the free things. If you're like, I'm just not ready to make that big investment with finances or whatever it is. If you're truly like, I'm just not ready, start with the free things. But the key here is invest yourself and dedicate yourself to those free resources and to actually learning what you need to know and honing your skills as if you paid thousands and thousands of dollars. And that's a difficult thing for people to do if they didn't pay that money, but it is possible. So if you really are committed, start there. Even YouTube, guys, again, going back to the certification point, like spoil everything we talk about in the episode, but I would say you do not need to get a certification in coaching. But that said, you do need to feel confident in your ability to coach, and you also need to actually be good at what you're doing so you can get your clients results. So if you don't actually feel confident that you can coach people and get them results, then yeah, do what you need to do to feel confident. So for me, that was like I literally started analyzing my calls and I was like, okay, what did I do here that was good? What did I like? What didn't I like? I started like YouTubing a bunch, like watching free examples of coaching sessions, looking up, like I read books on like how to coach, like what kind of questions to ask and like all the key. I watched free master classes, and because I had already done so much on my own and I am just a very quick learner and it's like easy, I'm just really good at like quickly comprehending and implementing things. Not everyone is like that. And that's why some people do join certifications and things like that, because they're like, that I just want a really thorough education. I want to know that's going to help me feel confident. That's great. For me, like this was enough, but that was necessary for me to do, right? So I invested myself in learning about those things as if I had paid money for them. I really dedicated myself to that. Invest in support in whatever way that looks like for you, whether it's free and you're just 100% dedicating yourself to committing to it as if you paid thousands of dollars, or whether that is literally paying thousands of dollars for that support. And what I will say about the difference between when you actually pay is when I invested in my first mastermind, and I will say too, it's very important to use your intuition when you're investing, because I know many of us have been here before. I've talked about this before. I think it was in the second episode of the podcast. Like, we make the bad investment. We invest in the scammy coach. We fall for the stupid marketing, which that's another episode I have to make about the scammy marketing because it pisses me off, honestly. Like people are just like giving coaching a bad name and just like feeding off of people's dreams. It's really sad. But that's why it's so important to use your intuition when you're making a choice to invest. And I'm actually going to talk about that in 5K frequency as well, of like how to know if your intuition is saying yes or no to making a big investment like that, because it is really important. Because the first investment I made, it was out of fear. It wasn't intuitively aligned, and it was absolutely a lesson I needed to learn. And it's definitely helped to inform like my approach to business today. So everything happens for a reason. But at the same time, I didn't really feel a difference in my energy when I made that investment. I felt like super scared and because it wasn't an intuitive investment. But when I invested in my second mastermind with a coach I was super aligned with, literally as soon as I pressed that button to send my first payment or whatever it was to make it official, it felt like Christmas morning to me. I felt so excited, so alive. And that was because I was investing from desires, investing out of intuition. I was investing out of belief and confidence in myself. And because I felt worthy of being invested in, because I felt so confident in my ability to succeed. I was like, I deserve this. And so going back to that like identity piece, right? The identity embodiment, like showing up as that version of yourself, that was a huge thing for me, of a huge vote to my brain. Again, experiences and actions cast votes to your brain of what is true, of look, I am, remember that I am identity. Look, I invested in myself. I am worthy of being invested in. I am successful. I have enough money to invest in myself. I'm abundant. I'm serious about my business. I'm taking my business seriously. I'm taking myself seriously. So it's huge in that way. And another thing was for me was I was like, again, that's why I don't just say invest. I say invest in support, because it's so important to feel supported on this journey, especially in entrepreneurship. It can be a very lonely journey, especially in spiritual entrepreneurship, because anybody who is not spiritual doesn't get it. Anybody who is not an entrepreneur doesn't get it. And people will project their limiting beliefs onto you all day long. You'll get it. And you will feel so alone already. And you're going through so much growth and so many challenges already. If you don't have a support system around you, it is going to be so much harder than it already is. And again, not saying that has to be hard, but it's going to make it feel a lot harder. You'll feel a lot more alone. And so it's so important to not only just invest in support so you feel supported and you have voices around you that are supporting you and that have the same goals as you and that understand you, but also so that you feel like you have everything you need to succeed. Because that was a big thing for me, was like when I was still with the bad coach, I'll say, the not aligned coach, I, wasn't doing well. And I kept just being like, oh, and like, but I'm so stuck on this. And then they just don't help me. It was almost like an excuse. I don't have the help. I don't have the support that I need. So therefore, like, I can't keep going and I can't be successful, where as once I invested in the coach that I like was super aligned with, I felt like, one, just way more motivated because I was like, I honestly love her and I just want to make her proud. And two, and that, again, that's why it's so important to pick someone you really feel connected to. And that's also why from the other side of it, I always tell you it's so important to connect to your clients because they want to work with you because they feel connected to you, right? And they feel inspired by you and they love you and they trust you and they want to make you proud, right? And they want to be in your energy and they believe you can help them. And so the number two was, after I did that, I was like, just felt a shift in my energy to where I was like, I literally have access to all the support I could ever need. Like, I truly believe like that I have all the support I could ever need now. So I literally have no reason to fail. Like, I have no excuse to not show up, to not keep going, to not succeed. If I run into a block, I just go to my coach. Like, I have no excuse to be stuck and to give up. So that was really huge for me. So number 4 is invest in support. Again, paid or not paid. You've heard my spiel on that, but I think that's super, super important. I always say, if you're like, I don't know how to do it, it's then your first responsibility is figure out what you don't know. What do you need to do to figure it out? And that's the thing too, is people talk a lot about like showing up and being consistent, and that is absolutely so important. And at the same time, like, you can show up and be consistent. If you're not taking the right actions, then you're not going to get the results you want. So it's like, you have to show up and be consistent in alignment with the results you're trying to manifest, right? So if you're trying to lose weight, you could show up and consistently eat Doritos every single day. But you're not going to lose weight that way because you're doing the wrong things. So you have to actually know what to do. And sometimes people are like, I actually don't know what to do. Should I be posting here? Should I be doing this? And again, that's where like support comes in. I will say with strategy stuff, it's a very basic foundation. And I am going to talk about this in the workshop next week, but there are some important keys you need to know. But also I find that a lot of people are just like, and I do find that a lot of people don't know them. And I see so many people actually, you guys, like showing up at their stories every single day, talking about their offer. And I'm just like sad watching them because I know that they're not connecting to their client, because I just can feel the energy and I can tell by the messaging, like, it's not going to be landing with anyone. And you can just feel it. And that's, again, why I'm so passionate about energy and aligning to the frequency and letting people feel and letting your energy speak for you and being so obsessed with your offer and what you're talking about. And that's going to go perfectly into the final point. But yeah, because you can be showing up every single day, but if you're not showing up with the right energy and showing up in the right way and taking the aligned actions and taking the right actions that you need to take, it's not going to matter. Figure out what you need to do. And if you don't know how to do what you need to do, invest in whatever resources, whether you invest time or money or both, to figure out what you need to do. And to do whatever you need to do to feel supported as well. I'm sure there's also tons of free support groups if you don't want to like join a big mastermind or anything like that, communities, things like that. That's number 4. Number 5, on that note of how you show up and the energy you have, is embody your message. This is a big one and is not talked about enough. Honestly, I feel like a lot of these aren't talked. Investing in support is talked about. Identity work is talked about. I don't know. I feel like when people talk about like the 5 things you need to go all in on, like, it's often like very strategy based again. And I feel like the energy stuff is just so underrated when it's actually like the most important thing. Whew. Okay. Can we get this episode in under an hour? I think so. Embodying your message. So this is going to be the biggest for, of course, coaches, service providers, people, especially if you're in like any type of healing, anything spiritual with helping people with their intuition or things like that. If you're like trying to get clients that you want to help them like feel confident and follow their intuition, but yet you're like over here doubting yourself behind the scenes and like overthinking and not tuning into your intuition for answers, or like denying your intuition, like not listening to nudges, then you're not embodying your message, and you're going to be basically embodying an inauthentic energy, and people are going to feel that even through the screen. And that's where like that disconnect is. Again, you could have great messaging and still not connect with your clients. And also, if you're not embodying that energy, then you're probably not going to be able to access that great messaging because they go hand in hand, and then you're not going to connect with your clients. But this can apply to anything, right? It's whatever message you stand for. If you feel like your business doesn't have a message that it stands for, like, then go back to step 1 about clarity, because you need to be really clear on that. What is my brand? What am I standing for? Why? What's my why? That is super important. That's a part of that clarity and that vision of like, why am I doing what I'm doing? And what do I want people to get from this? And like, what message do I want to spread into the world and share? So get clear on your message if you're not. But yeah, then you really need to embody your message. And this is probably one of the other most common things that I see. And I've gone through it too. I've been in the beginning of my business, I was like preaching about alignment. And then I was like trying to force these misaligned strategies, like cold DMing people, and didn't feel good. And then I was like, wait a minute, of course this isn't working. Like, I'm talking to people about intuition and alignment, and I'm literally like doing things that do not feel aligned to me at all. And I'm so embodying my message now. Like, I was talking about at the beginning of this episode, I love how my little like side tangents always become so relevant to what I'm talking about, is I am literally embodying my message daily. I talk about letting your intuition lead your business and not like overthinking shit. And that's what I do. And doing what feels good and making everything a vibe and like prioritizing your energy. And I do my practices and my somatic work like every single week, every single day. And I set these boundaries when I show up like a badass, and I have dance parties all day long, and I celebrate myself. Like, these are all the things I tell you to do. And I'm not perfect. Of course, nobody is. And I'll slip on these things, but I'll catch myself. And I notice like when I slip, like, I see the dip. When you slip it, rhyme again. I see that, like, the change, because people can, again, feel the energy. And when I'm super, super embodied, like, to even go back to Hot Girl Summer, like, I was just literally going on my Hot Girl walks every day and vibing and having a dance party. And the whole point of that offer was, like, get into a good energy and a vibe and feel confident and badass. And, like, you're, like, on a Hot Girl vibe every single day. And that's why that marketing did so well, because I was embodying that hot girl CEO energy and people felt that. I literally didn't even have messaging around that offer barely. I had some. Again, I'm not going to say there's no strategy involved, but it was mainly because I was embodying it and people felt that and they were like, I want that energy. That's like what magnetic energy is. And people say to me all the time, your energy is so magnetic. I just want your energy, da-da-da-da-da. And I've seen people say, you're not like paying thousands of dollars to join my mastermind just to get in my energy. I actually give you real value. And I'm not saying that. Yeah, I give a shit ton of value. Okay. I'm not saying it's just to be in my energy, but I'm saying like the work that I do with clients is to honestly just help you get into your aligned energy, to turn your vibe up. It's what in my bio, it says the number one rule is vibe. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but it's even like when you think about sales, like people don't care about what you're saying. And again, going back to these people I see posting on their stories, and they're just posting these bullet points and these like beautiful edited Canva slides. And they're like, my offer's going to give you this and this. Great. Why do I give a shit? You know what I mean? Because what makes people give a shit? Because you hit them in the feels, because they feel something that makes them give a shit. That's why people give a shit about those GoFundMe stories, because they hit them in the feels. And especially like when you're in the online business space or online coaching space and you're seeing like so many posts like this, right? Like, how are you going to stand out? The way that you stand out is by being a full embodiment of what you stand for. Okay, really look, again, this kind of goes back to the identity embodiment too, and like the identity work, but really look at like, how am I showing up every day? How am I talking to myself? What actions am I taking? What choices am I making? And where is the gap between what I'm sharing and what I'm preaching about and what I'm telling clients to do and what advice I'm giving and how I'm actually showing up? Like, where am I actually not embodying this or not integrating this? And this also comes back to like your offer, because you are not going to feel confident in selling your offer and even in your ability to like deliver on your offer if you're not embodying everything that you're talking about in the offer. And again, people feel how confident you are in your offer and how obsessed you are with your offer. And if they don't feel like you're freaking obsessed with that offer and like you're like living and breathing and dripping with obsession and every bit of energy related to this offer, then they are not going to feel it and they are not going to want to buy. Also, coming back to messaging and connecting with your client is if you're not embodying your message, then you're going to be confused on your messaging because you're not embodying it. Once you really embody what you're selling, it becomes so much easier to talk about because it's just what you're, again, living, eating, sleeping, breathing. That's why I have so much inspiration constantly for content, because it's just like every moment of my life, I'm like, oh my God, this, oh my God, this, I have to tell people this. Like this moment was so impactful. Like when you're living it, it becomes so much easier to share it with people. Think about how much easier it is for you to just tell someone about your day and tell people about an experience that you had versus trying to like think. I really think if you're trying to think up your messaging, you know, like making up and think of how do I put this? You're not embodied enough, honestly, in your message, because when you are truly embodied, it will come naturally. And yes, there are tips and tricks and like certain ways that you can phrase hooks and things like that. But again, once you learn that, it's there. And then the other like 80-90%, honestly, is just embodiment. And yeah, really letting your energy speak for yourself. And I really find this especially so much with like healers and coaches, like wellness coaches, especially, and spiritual coaches. It's like, they're like, I'm going to help you not be burnt out and help you manage your time and have flow and not feel stressed. And then like behind the scenes, they're actually like completely overworking, not setting boundaries and like not practicing what they preach. And it's for a reason. I'm not saying, I don't want you to feel like an imposter if you're like, oh my God, oh shit, I'm doing this. It's because on most of the time, honestly, we feel called to give the medicine that we need. And we usually are like many steps ahead of people that we're wanting to help. But at the same time, that's not an excuse. Like you still do need to continue with the embodiment and continue with the work. And you will just feel so much more aligned overall. And that is how you get to that frequency. We got through them all. Those are the 5 things you are going to go all in on for the rest of the 2024 to make your first 5K month before the end of the year. Clarity, getting clear as fuck on your vision, identity work, working on your self-concept, somatic work, getting into the body, working with your nervous system, energy healing, tapping, breath work, anything mind-body related, movement, anything where you're processing in the body and not just in your head. Investing in yourself, investing in the support that you need, whatever that looks like for you, and embodying your message. And that is how you are going to align to that 5K frequency. You guys, if you loved this episode, I love this episode, honestly. The workshop is coming up fast. It's next week. I'm actually doing a lot of a shorter window than I normally do. So it's going to be next Thursday, the 19th at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So if you are interested in that and you want to go deeper on everything we talked about today, feeling like a badass in your business and what you need to blow up your business to 5K months and beyond, then you can just DM me 5K on Instagram. If you don't want to DM me for whatever reason, you can just go right to the link in my bio and read about it and sign up right there. The thing I'm honestly most excited for is, again, I'm embodying my message. You guys, I'm not just going to talk at you for 90 minutes because I've been saying this entire time. It's not just about learning and getting into like to the head and the mind stuff. It's about actually embodying and working with your energy and working somatically. So we're actually going to do a live somatic embodiment practice on the call to literally start attuning your nervous system to the frequency of 5K months. We're going to do a practice. So literally that magic will start working in the background to start calling in more clients, more cash into your reality before you even hang up the call. So literally just by attending the call, you're already attuning your frequency higher. That's why I'm so excited about it. But also I'm going to give you like all the tea and break down exactly what you're doing wrong, what you need to focus on. It's going to be essentially like this podcast episode, but better. And just like a lot more potent energy and plus that practice. And also I have like fun giveaway options, like giving away, I think it's like $2,000 worth of giveaway prizes, opportunity to win a free session with me. I've already talked about like how epic these sessions are and the kind of results that my clients get. So there are very limited spots for those actually because like they are valuable and I can't give one away to everybody. So it's application and there are very limited spots. You have to register to get the link to apply. So go register sooner rather than later so you can apply for that. And yeah, I think that's like the basics. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. And I would love to know what you thought of this episode. If you have any questions, like on anything on like that we talked about, of anything that didn't make sense or you're confused on, then yeah, send them my way. And I will be sure to, cover them in a future episode or cover them in the workshop. I can't wait to see you there. I am so freaking pumped. I'm so excited. And yeah, I really liked this episode. I hope you guys liked it too. And if you did, as always, don't forget to rate the podcast if you haven't already. Share this episode with a friend who you think could benefit from this, and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It would make my day, and I will do a solo little special dance party just for you if you leave me a review on Apple Podcasts. So I think something I have to say, I'm going to stop talking so I can actually upload this before Thriving Thursday is over, and my throat is starting to hurt. My allergies are like still... like, it's getting hot again. Like, it was a little bit chilly, and I was, like, so excited. And now it's getting hot again. And I think when it gets hot, then my allergies start to act back up, which I'm going to look into, actually, healing my allergies somatically, because I definitely believe that's possible, but it hasn't been a priority yet. But, yeah, my throat always gets super itchy and scratchy, like, way more easily. So I need to stop talking now. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. I love you guys so freaking much. Go vibe the fuck up. Go all in on these 5 things. And I can't wait to see what this does for you. Don't forget to stop and take a deep breath wherever you are. Smile. And I will talk to you next week. Bye.